Hello and welcome back. Data and analytics are a huge factor when it comes to social media growth, which is why we need to have some kind of analytics dashboard or analytics tracker to look at the data and not only just look at the numbers and be like, wonder what that means, but numbers that actually mean something, that are telling you a story. So today I'm going to show you how to make an analytics dashboard all in Notion, because Notion is my best friend. I love Notion. And as you can see here, we want to see like a yearly basis to see the actual growth. Because sometimes there are going to be times, weeks or months, where there might be a little dip. But it's important to be able to look at the trends, to be able to understand what's going on, how to improve, how to avoid that in the future, and maybe what kind of story your social media is trying to tell you about your content. Be obsessed with your analytics, because that's going to tell you a whole lot about what's actually happening and what you should do moving forward. And then obviously at the end, I'm going to walk you through how to make a monthly analytics report where you will sit down with your clients and go over that month's analytics and make plans to make next month even better. And as always, if you're in a rush and you don't really have time to sit down and learn all these things, no worries. I have templates down below in my shop. I have some free ones. I have some paid ones that you can check out to help you with your social media management or social media growth journey. So without further ado, let's get into it. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is we're going to create a new page. And within this new page, you want to make sure that this is in the private tab. So up here, it says private. What we're going to do is we're going to call this Analytics Dashboard. Okay, and then we can create a nice cute little cover. So next thing we're going to do, we're going to do /data. We are going to do full page, and this is going to enter in a new page. And we are going to name this Analytics Database. So what we're going to do here is we're going to do month, and we're going to put in all the months. So January, February, March, April, May, and then December. Okay. So we're just going to move this over here. We're going to add another property, and we're going to do number, and we just want to do 1 through 12. Perfect. Okay. And we're just going to name this month number. Easy. Next, we're going to add a new property, and we're going to do number, and this is going to be followers. Okay. So you're just going to insert the data of followers. Next, we're going to do views. All right. Next, we're going to do accounts reached. And then next, we're going to do number of interactions, basically whatever metrics you want to do. And then I'm going to do profile activity. And let's say the current month is September. That's why I'm just inputting these numbers until September. Wow, just realized I spelled September wrong. All right, next one is profile visits. The next one is external link tabs. And then the next one is business address tabs. Here are all the metrics that I am going to want to be tracking. Now, since these are all the numbers and the metrics, that's great. But we also want to know what the difference between, let's say, February and January is. You know, how many followers did we gain? What's a percentage of that? I want to see a percentage change between February and January. So in this column, we are going to do relation, because we want to relate back to the previous month. We're going to do analytics database. We're going to turn on two-way relation, set the limit to 1 page, add relation, and it's going to pull up 2 columns. Now, in this column, you want to start with the second one, because the previous month for January, we don't have that, obviously. We have February. So in the February, we want to put January, because we want to refer back to January in this column. Because it's two-way, in the January one, it's just going to do the next month. You just ignore it. And if I'm going to be totally honest with you, I'm not sure why it only works with the two-way. I've tried to turn off the two-way relation. It might be different for whatever version of Notion you have, but this is what works on my end. So yeah. So next we're going to do February March, April, May, June, July, August, September, October, November. Okay, so this is what you should be looking at. So you can see here that in the February column, we're referring to January. And what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to just move this next to the month just for visualization's sake, I guess. So we're going to rename this to previous month so that we know that this is referring to the previous month, and so we don't get mixed up with the actual month, right? So I guess here you could say current month so that we have current month, previous month. Just makes it a little bit easier. We're going to add a new property, and we're going to go to roll up, click on this, select existing relation. We're going to do previous month. And then the property we're going to do is we are going to do followers. Okay. So here you're going to see, and we're going to move this over here because this one you're just basically going to ignore. We're just going to move it just to the end of everything. So we're just going to make it look ugly, so we remember that we don't really care about it. And for this roll up, we're going to want to rename this to previous followers so that we can distinguish between followers and previous followers. Okay. And I'm just keeping everything over here because we'll refer back to it. So now we know that the previous followers, just move this over here. Do you see how this number is the same as this one? It's because this column is referring to January. Okay. So what we want though is we want a percentage change to show the difference between this and this number. So we're going to create a new property, and we're going to do formula, and we're going to rename this. I just like to do percentage change followers. Okay. We're going to move this. I know it's so annoying. Sorry guys. I don't know what best way to do that with, but we're just going to move it here. Stay with me. And what you can actually do is I actually use AI. So I say, I want the percentage change between previous followers and followers. So, and I would say property and property followers. This is just how I do it, and it works. So that way you don't really have to. So let's see if it works. Let's see if it'll give me the correct formula, and it works. Look at that, guys. Okay. We love that. So there we go. K. Woo! All right. So as you can see here, it's going to show no previous data because we don't have any data before January. And you can see the percentage change in February. They grew 0.56% in followers. Okay. And you can check that with your math, but that's why I love using just their AI feature, because then I don't have to figure out all the formulas. So how cool is that? And it gives you the plus and minus. And yeah, you want to make sure at the end here, wherever it stops, there's nothing to refer to. So that's why it says negative 100%. But as soon as I put in, let's say 1600, it's going to give a number. Okay. How cool is that? So basically what we need to do is we're going to repeat that pattern for each of these. And so it is a little bit tedious, but that way you can see the difference, and you can move these over if you would like. So now you know the change in percentage for each month. And as you can see here, they're all going up. So we basically just need to do it for each of these. So I'm going to do that, and we can do that together, but basically you just repeat the process. And when I'm doing this, you can actually copy this whole thing, okay? And then just paste it, and then make sure you're changing the properties. So for example, for views, we need to create a roll up, previous month, And then we are going to do views here at the bottom. Okay. So now it's referring back to that. And we're going to do previous views. Then, sorry, gotta move that. Then we're going to do formula. And we're going to do the percentage change of views. Okay. And then we can actually go here, select all, copy, and then we can paste that right in. But instead of previous followers, we're going to do previous views. Previous views. Or you can just ask the AI thing to do it. And then here you want to do views. And then here views. Okay, and that should work. Okay, so then when we can then drag it over here and you can see the percentage change between each month. How cool is that? Okay, so I'm just going to repeat that process for all of these and I will come back. Okay, so I have put everything in. So just as a rundown, I have current month, the month number, previous month, so January or February. I have the followers, and then I have the increase of followers from the previous month. So this is saying that we grew 0.56% of an increase of followers compared to January. Same thing with March, 3% increase from February, etc. Same thing here with views. Now you'll see here that this is kind of hard to see because there's no commas. So you can do edit property, number format, and you can do number with commas. So that way it's a little bit easier to see, 14,000 or 15,000 or whatever. Then I have accounts reached, same thing here. What I did is I just copy and pasted the same formula, or I asked the AI thing to do it, and then you just have to make sure that these gray properties are linked to whatever metric you want to do, okay? Then I have interactions. You can see here, I double checked these numbers to make sure that they were correct. Profile activity, profile visits, external link taps, business address taps, and then here are the roll-ups. It's just kind of the end. Put this all the way towards the end. So this stuff we're not really going to use. These columns are just what we used within the formula. So you want to make sure you don't delete them or anything. But what we're really going to want to look at are these numbers over here. So you could technically just move this to the end as well if you wanted to. Okay. And then that way you can kind of see like, okay, here's what's going on, right? That's our database. Now we want to create a dashboard. And what we can do here, I'm going to do /column, and I want to do 3 columns because I want to show 3 different graphs or however many graphs you want. I'm going to make this a little bit bigger. And then here we're going to do dash data. And here you'll see there's different charts. So I'm going to do the line chart. And then we can do analytics database. We're going to go to settings and what to show. We want to do the month. So the current month. Current month. Okay. And this is on the x-axis, right? So on the bottom, we want it to show the month, sort by, we want to do advanced, add sort, and we want to do it by the number of months so that the months are in order, right? We want to start from January all the way to December. So we're going to do month number ascending, okay? Then on the y-axis, we want to show whatever metric we want to do. So for example, we want to do followers. So we're going to do values. And then we want to set a range since these are all kind of in the same spot. We want to do, looks like 1200's the minimum, and then maximum maybe 1650. So whatever you want to put in there. And then because nothing is showing up for October, November, and December because it's 0, we want to go and click omit 0 values. So that way we're only seeing all of the months that have the actual data, okay? So next, just to make it a little bit easier to read and prettier, you can keep it like this, or there's other style options. You can, kind of change the grid lines if you'd like. I like changing it. Oh, I kind of like that actually. We'll do that. And then we can name these axes, which honestly, I like how that looks better. You can add a gradient. I think for this case, obviously we don't really need the legend because we have followers already. Maybe in our dashboard or database, we might change this so that this is showing the commas. So it's just a little bit easier to see. There we go. Right, that like that. And then you can change the height. You can make it smaller or bigger. We can do smaller for now. You can make it a smoother line or a jagged line, whatever you want to do. And then I think we'll just change the color to purple. It's kind of cute. And if you want to download it or put it into a report, you can actually go to save chart as, and then you can just kind of choose whichever you want and download it. And there you go. So then you have just a nice clear picture of your graph for followers and follower growth. It's really nice to show for client meetings, especially if it's the end of the year or 6 months or 3 months or whatever, just to show the progress. And then another thing you can do is instead of chart, you can rename this to followers. We'll do follower growth. And there you go. So we're just going to do the same thing here. Database, chart. So for this one, again, you're going to make sure the source is your database, what to show. We want to do the current month. And then we want to sort that by month number, and it's ascending. And then omit 0 values, what to show. For this one, we want to do views, do values. And then I think the range is fine right here. Another thing you can do, the reference line, is if you have any like goals or anything, you can add one. So that way you can see like, oh, this was our goal. View goal. So it's kind of fun. Like there's a lot of different things you can do to personalize it. And I think for this one, we'll do medium. And I'm actually going to just make this medium as well. I'm going to take the legend off. And then I'm also going to take the data labels off. Because when you drag over, it'll tell you the number. And I just feel like it's a little bit cleaner. Especially if it's a lot of views. But yeah, then it's just a little bit easier to see. And then for our last one, database chart. We'll link this here. We'll rename this one to accounts reached. Oh, and you can change these little emojis if you'd like. Literally just realized I could do that. So this is already really pretty. We're going to move this analytics database down here. I think this is really nice because these are kind of the 3 main things. And then obviously, if you want to grab specific numbers, instead of going to this page, what we can do is you can do /database, and we can do inline, and then link to existing database, analytics database. So that way you can just see what's going on, just to make it easy. And so things don't get mixed up. You can do image, and then you can upload an image if you want. We'll just do a random one just as an example. Let's just do this. Oh, cute. I love that. So you can leave it like this, so it's just easy to see, you know what I'm saying? Or you can also click on these 3 little dots and go to more options, add link to image. And so then you can just link it. So then whenever you click on this, it'll take you to the dashboard. So yeah, so you can customize it however you want. And you can use this for so many things. This is kind of like an over a year by year, but you can also do monthly, month by month if there are some things you want to track. And I quickly just wanted to show you an example of a client social media management analytics report, like a monthly analytics report that I use for my clients. This is a template that I use, that I've created, that you can use as well. It's linked down below if you're interested. I keep it simple. I just have kind of an overview, like a menu page, and then I use this donut chart so I can input views or followers or whatever to show whatever I want. And I think it's kind of nifty, you know? And the reason I use the Notion is because I can plug in the numbers from Notion straight into here. There are a lot of different services you can use that kind of compile everything for you. But if you kind of want to get your hands dirty in a manual way or just another way to do it, this is just another way to do it. That is personally how I like to do it, at least for now. So then once I put all those performance metrics in here, the next thing I go over is whatever social media. So Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, Pinterest, whatever. I just focus on the top 3 performing posts. And then we look at the analytics for those posts and whatever metrics. And then I include notes about what I noticed, what was working well, what all of these videos have in common. And then I also look at the lowest performing content, okay? Because you can't look at the highest performing and ignore the lowest performing. Same thing, you look at all the metrics, you look at the views, and then you include notes about what you observed. And then the last page is just goals for next month. What are we going to take away from this month's analytics, from the performance of these videos? What are we going to continue? What are we going to change? What are we going to try? All that stuff. And it's really simple and concise because your clients are busy. They have lots of things on their plate. You don't want to make it overly complicated. You just want to tell them the simple story of what's happening, because your job as a social media manager is to take data, raw data, numbers, percentage changes, and put it into a story that you can tell your clients and show what's happening, what's working, and how to actually grow and improve your social media. So yeah, there you go. So if you found anything that's super helpful for you, that has helped you track your own analytics, please let us know down below. We can help each other out. And as always, if you found this helpful, don't forget to like and subscribe for more content like this, and I will see you next time. Bye.